Greetings, good people, and welcome to Speech 205 here at York Technical College. Let me tell you a quick story. Way back in the day, long time ago, when I was a young professional, I was invited into a classroom very much like the ones that you see at York Technical College. I was invited there into a classroom, but I was not invited as a student. I was invited as a guest lecturer, sort of. I was a young professional, and I was invited there to address the students. Now, here's the thing. I had no idea what I was supposed to say to the students. Had no idea. I knew the day, I knew the time, didn't know what I was supposed to talk about, didn't know how long I was supposed to talk. And let me say this, that it is a good idea to have that information together before you give a speech. So on that day, I showed up. I said hey to the teacher, listened very closely to the teacher as I shook her hands and as she was talking there to the class beforehand to see if I could get any idea of what I was supposed to be talking about. So I sat in the back of the class and got no idea. Finally, she called me up, and so I went up to the front of the class. I said, well, this is a high school class. This is a night school class, so they can't come to the day school for one reason or another. So I'm going to talk to them about education and the importance of education. And that's what I did. I spent that time talking about education and the importance thereof. And I did an okay job and then said goodbye. I have thought since then more than once about what I would like to have told them if I had had the opportunity. If I had one opportunity to address that class, what would I tell them? And so I did a little bit of research on that. I did a little bit of research there online, a number of different sources, and found these articles that talked about, okay, what are some of the most important decisions that we make in life? So I found one from Redbook, which is kind of from Guidepost, which is kind of a right-leaning source. I found one from Huffington Post, which is a bit of a left-leaning source. And as I read those and compared those, some of the most important decisions were included in both of those. And so here's what I'm going to tell you about, or this is what I would have told that class about had I had the opportunity again. I would tell them, first of all, I would tell them to watch out for their partner. Secondly, I would tell them to follow their passion. Thirdly, I would tell them to find their purpose. Now, let me go into the first point. The first point is to find your partner. Most of the time, people have a partner in life, end up with that life partner. I say most of the time. I guess that's still most of the time, but a lot of the times people do, and those are the people that you make your memories with, that you oftentimes make families with, that you see the first thing in the morning and you see the last thing in the evening, and you go on all the vacations with, and you just make your time in your life with them. Most people end up with some sort of life partner or another. And I would encourage those kids way back in the day, those students way back in the day, to watch out for their life partner. Because here's what you know. You know that there is no one in the world who can lift you up to be a better person than your life partner. They'll know you as well as you know yourself. They can support you. They can lift you up. They can make you better than you were before. At the same time, they can crush you. They can take you down. They can make you a whole lot less of a person than you were before. Watch out for your life partner is what I would tell that person. Be very careful in choosing that life partner. Got a friend who used to bring all sorts of guys. She would date a number of guys, and I kind of looked at him, and not being judgmental at all, I kind of looked at him and said, why do you bring these guys around? So they don't seem to be, like all that much, to be honest. And she said, I like the bad boys. To which I said, because you see, liking the bad boys is fine. Many times those that we call bad boys are actually have a heart of gold and would do anything in the world for you, are really good people. But those aren't the people she was bringing around. She was bringing around truly bad boys. She was bringing around at least one of them who taught her what it was to live with abuse, taught her what it was to go and to get a restraining order, taught her what it was to fear for her life, for her and for her children. Watch out for the people. Watch out for yourself. when you're choosing that life partner, be very, very vigilant about that. That's what I would have told those kids back in that day. Let me go to the second point. The second point is simply this: to find your passion. To find your passion and to follow your passion as long as you can, whatever that passion may be. Does not mean that you're going to necessarily make a living on your passion or that you're going to make any money at all. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. Very few people who love to play basketball end up in the NBA or even the G League. Very few people who like to sing or like music end up with a Grammy or end up with a best-selling I'm going to say a best-selling album. I guess they don't do albums anymore, but a best-selling hit. But that does not mean that you should not. It's a double negative. That does not mean that you should not continue to follow your passion. You follow your passion as long as it will take you and as far as it will take you. You know why? Because maybe that passion will lead to another passion, will lead to another passion, and you'll find that one. You'll find that one that is the one that you can kind of base your life on, that you can maybe make a living off of. We've got a child right now who's in interior design. I don't know if there's any jobs in interior design or not. I don't know what the future is in interior design, but that is her passion. And I am so incredibly proud of her for pursuing that passion. Got a fellow in one of my classes before who loved in high school, loved theater, loved being in theater, wanted to major in theater, ended up switching that over to majoring in sort of production type work. One passion will lead to another. I guess the point is this, that eventually, unless you got a lot of money, unless you have won the lottery or you got a big old endowment from your family or something like that, most of us are going to have to get out and work 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week, 60 hours a week. Follow your passion as long as you can so that you won't be miserable. Third thing I would say is not only follow your passion, but find your purpose. And they're kind of related. I believe that everybody was put on this earth for a reason. And a part of that reason is to take care of ourselves. Part of that reason is to maybe get an education, maybe get some money in the bank, maybe be able to support ourselves, support a family. Some of it, or a lot of it, probably is me-oriented. But we have more of a purpose than ourselves. We have a purpose to the community. We have a purpose to others. And I would have told those kids way back in that day to find that purpose, to find where their passion meets the greatest world's need. There's a theologian that came up with that. It was not me. Another theologian came up with that said, indeed, your calling is where the greatest need of the world meets your passion. Follow that passion. Do something to change the world. Here's the thing. I mean, both Huffington Post and both Huffington Post and the other one and Guidepost agree that following your passion is so incredibly important. And finding your purpose is incredibly important. And you might not find it today or tomorrow. You might not find it next year. It might take a lifetime to find that purpose. But find it. Find a place where you can make the world a little bit better now than it was when you came into it. So that's what I would have told those students back in that day, just to remind you, or just to conclude. I would have told them, indeed, to make sure to watch out and be very vigilant when they are choosing a partner. I would tell them to follow their passion, and I would tell them to find their purpose in life, to keep searching for their purpose in life until they found it. And I guess it all boils down to this: you only have one life to live. 80 years, 90 years, 100 years, 110 years. I don't know how long you'll be living by the time you guys grow up. But you have one life to live. Only one time to do this thing on the earth. You might as well do it well. You might as well do your best. You might as well make a difference to yourself and to others. That's what I would have told them back in that day. So that leads to the question. The question is simply this: why did I tell you all of that? Why did I ramble on during that time to tell you that? Well, I told you that for two reasons. One is simply because I wanted you to hear that as well. Because if you don't hear anything else worthwhile in this whole course or in all of school or anywhere else, I want you to hear that. The second reason I said that was, though I stumbled a little bit, just to let you know that I know what I'm doing. That indeed I can give a speech, that I've given a speech many a times in my life. That I've been in two different professions that called upon me to give speeches. Tell you a little bit about myself. First, my name. My name is David Bender, Bender, David Bender. I grew up in South Carolina, went to public schools down in Greenville, South Carolina, went to college at Clemson, and ended up majoring in a double major in math and English. After Clemson, for various reasons, I ended up going to law school. Went to law school at Wake Forest University School of Law and practiced law for 6 years up in North Carolina, different counties in North Carolina. I was located in Wilkes County, North Carolina. After those 6 years, I was thinking to myself, okay, I'm ready for something else, maybe another job in the law profession, maybe something else. Ended up going back to school, went back to Wake Forest in the master's program. In that master's program, I took speech communication, which indeed allows me to teach this course today. Teach speech communication then. Right after that, during that time, my wife and I got together and became a couple, and suddenly we were looking to figure out what we were going to do rather than what I was going to do. Ended up going to seminary in Decatur, Georgia. Earned a Master of Divinity there in seminary, and have been a church pastor since 2001. Ended up going back to seminary on a part-time basis, but ended up with a doctorate of ministry, which is why I am indeed Dr. David Bender. Actually, Reverend Dr. David, I guess Reverend Dr. David Bender, Esquire, if you want to get particular about it. So that's a little bit about me, introducing myself. So at this point in time, if we were live, I'd say, introduce yourself to each other. I'd go around and talk with each of you about you, and I won't be able to do that this time. But after a while, in a week or two, you will have the opportunity to give an introduction speech here. As I come together, just wanted to tell you a bit about the course, about some of the things you need to know or don't need to know about the course. First, this is strange. Doing a public speaking course online is strange, I know. It is not ideal, I know, but it is possible and people can get something out of it. A couple of semesters ago, I did another, what do they call it, asynchronous? I did a whole other asynchronous course in this topic, in this subject, and it went fine and people enjoyed it and people got something from it. That was during the time of the COVID. This might not have been what you were expecting, and I, on behalf of York Tech, I'm sorry about that, but this is the course I was asked to teach, and so this is the course I'm teaching, and I'm glad to have you here as a part of it. A couple of things you'll need to look at. There are two syllabi. One is the departmental syllabi, or syllabus, I guess, and the other is one that each professor does. They call it an instructor addendum, and so that's the one I did. So those are I have these here. They are also available to you if you go to the portal or to the shell for this week. We'll talk about that in just a moment. In fact, you must have already, if you're listening to me, you must have already found that shell to find the link to this wonderful thing. But anyway, so we have the course, the wonderful syllabi that is put out by the York Technical College. It goes through a lot of the competencies which you're supposed to learn here. Preparation for informative speeches, preparation for persuasive speeches. We don't do group presentations anymore, though it is still on there. And what else does it go to? Minimum standards, withdrawal from class. Don't worry about withdrawing unless you need to withdraw, but you have the opportunity to withdraw. Anyway, that's in here. Later missed assignments. If you miss assignments, eventually you get a 0. Now, I can work with you, certainly, but eventually if you miss an assignment, you get a 0. Academic integrity, things like not cheating and stuff like that. Other requirements, grade range is the same as the grade range always is, I guess, here at York Tech. It's a 10-point scale. Modules. This course is broken up into 3 modules. One module is, and that's basically a group of grades put together is what a module is, I'm finding out. But a module is, the first module are just about all of your quizzes and all of your assignments are in that module. And people often do very well in those, and that counts 30%. Your second module is basically your informative speech. This whole course is based on 2 major speeches, the informative speech and the persuasive speech. So in the informative speech is your second module. It's worth about 32% of the whole grade. And there are, I think, 3 things in that module. One is the outline to your informative speech, which we'll talk about probably in the next video you watch, but is an outline. And second is the formal speech itself. And third is a self-evaluation that you will do of your informative speech. Now, the third module is worth 38%. And that is just 2 things. That is A, your final speech, your persuasive speech, and B, the outline for your persuasive speech. Just talk a little bit about, not a lot about the speeches. The speeches will be 5 to 6 minutes in length. Yes, you're welcome. We'll need to do a PowerPoint for each of them, which is fun. So 5 to 6 minutes apiece. You will do a PowerPoint for them. You will do a full sentence outline for them. I will give you, if I have not already, I will give you a sample outline for the full sentence, a sample full sentence outline. When I give you that, I'm going to tell you now, and I'm going to tell you again later, simply this, that with the full sentence outline, here's what you do. When you're doing your outline, download the full sentence outline. Erase the words, not the columns, not the sections, but erase the words and fill in your own words. The point being, keep every single thing in that column. The verbal citations you need, the transitions you need, the structure of the whole outline you need. Don't leave any of that out. And I'll tell you that even more vociferously probably in the next lecture. Don't leave any of that out. Now we come to my wonderful addendum, and my addendum syllabi talks about attendance. You got to attend class. In a few minutes, when we talk about the next thing, I'll talk to you about how attendance is taken or will be taken here in this class. But you need to attend class. Technically, you cannot miss but one of these classes. And if you miss more than one of these classes, then technically you could be withdrawn. That does not say that you will be withdrawn if you miss more than one of these classes, but technically you can be withdrawn. It has a whole section on tardies. I guess if it's asynchronous, I guess you are never tardy. That is a very good thing. You will do, one of the first things you will do is you will do a quiz on these syllabi. And when you do those quizzes, know that I know that one answer to those quizzes is wrong. I know that, and I'll have to go adjust that. What I don't know is how to change it in the quiz itself, change the answer in the quiz itself. I'm not sure how to do that. So know that I know that, and I will talk with you and address that with you after you do your quiz and get it in and say, wait a minute, that's not right. Well, you're probably right. That probably won't be right. Know that also that Your speech topics will need to be approved by me. Your informative speech and your persuasive speech topics will be approved by me. At the appropriate time, I will ask you, there'll be a Dropbox for you to put your 3 topics. I'll ask you to choose 3 topics, and I will help you find that one, but they need to be approved by me. I also have a whole section on speech procedures in here. It's not a very long section, but basically don't read your speeches and don't plan on reading your speeches. I'm not reading any of this stuff to you. So plan on not reading your speeches. What you're going to do is you're going to use note cards and you're going to give it extemporaneously. Now that's not impromptu. It's extemporaneous is after a whole lot of practice, but you won't deliver it by reading the speech. Again, I'll have a whole wonderful lecture. Actually, it's my favorite lecture on speech delivery. Also in here at the very bottom, I always like to show you these things. You've probably seen you can't read these, but I'll show them to you anyway. But there is all kinds of help and support available for you. Academic support, all sorts of academic support that is available for you, the library number, all kinds of wonderful things to be aware of. Another thing to be aware of is this, that basically they give me one format by which to contact you directly, and that format is email. I will email you oftentimes. Please read your emails. Truly, please read your emails, and please internalize and take to heart your emails. I have more than once had somebody, they're getting mid-semester or toward the end of the semester or whatever, and their average is around a 50 or something like that, and they come to me and say, what happened? What's going on here? To which I simply say, well, you hadn't turned in this and this and this and this, and I've been emailing you about that once a week for the past 3 weeks or 4 weeks. It is to your benefit that we work together. It is to your benefit. Every single email I send out is not for my benefit, is for your benefit. And anyway, so please read your emails, and please read your emails. Oh, and one other thing. Please read your emails and react accordingly. Third thing is, this is most, even more important than the syllabi, is this wonderful course agenda. This course agenda is long, and know that it has a lot of explanation in it, that this course is not necessarily onerous, that this course is very, very doable. But basically what I had to do was write down everything that we were going to do, and so that's what I did. So this has 3 columns. And this looks backwards and upside down, probably backwards to you, but it's got this column here on the left, and the column on the left breaks down the course into the 8 weeks. This is an 8-week course, and it tells you it's going to tell you what work is expected in each of the weeks of the 8 weeks. So week 1, the semester starts October 13th and goes, so week 1 is October 13th through the 19th. I know that's a Wednesday through a Tuesday, but that's a week. That's where they start. And then it gives you the little topic here as to what it's about. This is about the introduction to the class. And it also tells you the date on which all of your work is due. And except for the last week, all of your work can be due there on the last day of the week. So it can be handed in up to October the 19th. That does not say that you need to hold all of your assignments until October the 19th. You've got various assignments to do. You've got from the 13th to the 19th to get them done. As you get them done throughout the week, go ahead and submit them. You're college students, you're intelligent, you know how you work. Just keep up with it, and you will do, prayerfully, you will hopefully do very well. So that's the one column. The second column here is all of the work. It is simply every everything that you'll need to do during the week, and included in during the week and during all these weeks. Included in here are a number of things. One is a lecture that you're watching now, and there are a number of different lectures. The very first one is a little assignment that will help you get access to your textbook. I hope you've already got access to your textbook. If you've not, if you've tried to get access to it, I'll tell you what, one way or another, just email me and let me know whether you have or have not gotten access to your textbook. That's always a fun thing to do and a fun thing to get, and is not always as simple as it would seem. So you get your textbook. We have lectures. We have some videos for you to watch, and we have some quizzes for you to take. In fact, today you will take a syllabus quiz. And you will also today take a chapter quiz on chapter 2, I don't mean today, but this week. And you'll also submit 3 potential topics for your informative speech. Informative speech, you're not trying to convince us of anything particularly. You're trying to teach us. Tell us about a person, a place, or thing, or an idea. Choose one of those, or 3 of those actually, for your topic. And give them to me, and I'll respond to them, and we'll figure out what your topic is going to be. So you have all of these and all of these links and all these quizzes and all. I don't know if this is the way it is in all classes. I think it is now. And in fact, because York Tech changed this, I got to do this video over again. But on the home page, toward the bottom left of the home page, you'll see a bunch of what they call shells. I think I call them portals, but anyway, there'll be a bunch of shells. And you will see, if you look closely enough, you will see a shell for each one of these weeks. You'll see a shell for October 13th through 19th and October 20th through 26th. And what it will have is it will have all of this information in the shell, but even more importantly, it will have links to the information. So there's an ungraded assignment for you to complete to get your textbook. Well, it will be there in. It's not yet because I don't have access at least as I'm giving this. I don't have access to it, but it will be in there. Watch the lecture. This lecture, well, you're watching. It was in there, was it not? The video on the research, there'll be a link to that. So there'll be a link to all of these. When you have, there'll be a link to the Dropbox that you put the 3 topics in. So there'll be a link to the quizzes, a link to everything. So this is very important to have to continue to look at. It's also very important week by week to go to the correct portal, and the correct portal will have this information in it and the links to allow you to do these assignments and these quizzes and these videos and these lectures and the speeches as well. One of the things you will see in here is one of the things I do is I apologize to you. And I apologize to you now because of this, because I'm talking. Every single moment that I'm talking in class is a moment that you're not talking in class. And I wish we could have a class where you were talking all the time, because the way to get better at speaking is A, to take a class, and B, to care about it, and C, to work on it, but D, to do it, to continue to speak and speak and speak. So if we were in person, well, you might have as many speech opportunities here online. But one of the speech opportunities, you'll do an introduction speech. It won't be you telling all about yourself. There's a specific format and a specific type of content that I'm going to need, but you'll see that on the link when it gets to it. So you're going to do an introduction of yourself. You're going to do the 2 formal speeches, but before you do the 2 formal speeches, you're going to do what I have named a first run speech. So there'll be a first run informative speech that you will do like a week before the actual formal informative speech. And the first run speech is one where it's a practice session where you go over your whole informative speech, all that you have together. And what I will do is listen to that once, and I will respond to that, saying, okay, you're missing this in this in this, or you need to improve this in this in this, or this and this and this didn't make sense to me. So you will actually get at least a little bit of feedback on your informative speech before you actually give it. Now, these first run speeches are not graded as a formal speech. They are graded as an assignment. They are graded as a part of the first 30%. They are graded with much grace, so that the fact is that many times a first run speech, you might get a 90 on the first run speech, but if I were actually grading it as a formal speech, it might be a 75. So people will say, well, why did I get a 95 here and it's down to an 82 here? Well, it's because the first run speech is an assignment and is graded as an assignment, is graded as basically is, have you put work into it? Do you have your sources? Do you have kind of an organization together? Have you put work into it? And so I don't go through the whole list that you will also get in a couple of weeks for the formal speech. So just to let you know what a first run speech is. So you say, so am I giving a speech on the same thing twice in a row? Yeah, you sure are. And if we were together in class, you would hear speeches on the same thing twice in a row. And hopefully what you would hear is a big improvement between the first one and the second one. And that's the point. The first run speech. And the second point is with the first run speech is that it forces you to get work done ahead of time, to start working on this early and to start practicing the speeches early. Because here's the thing about speeches. Like with papers, a lot of times when you're writing a paper, night before you're finishing it and it's done. Speeches, once you're finished with your outline, you're only halfway finished. You know why you're only halfway finished? Because you got to spend about that much time, if not more, practicing that speech to get better and better. Okay, so we were still talking about this. We were talking about the 3 columns on this course agenda. Now, the third column, talked about taking attendance. The third column will help you with that. How do you take attendance if you don't show up in class? Maybe you've had an asynchronous course before and you already know this. But what I'm sort of doing is I'm saying, okay, in classes, there are generally 2 days that you're supposed to be in class. So each week we'll have 2 attendance opportunities for you. 2 days where I will take attendance. So how will I know if you're there? I will know that you are there if you do the things in this column. Now, all of the assignments in this column are a part of what's in the middle. I've just chosen 2 of them to say, if you do these 2, this is what I'm basing attendance on. Now, I'm basing your grade on all of these, but I'll base your attendance on these 2. So the first week you have 6 different things to do, but you will be marked present if you, A, watch this lecture, yay, you're watching this lecture, and B, if you take the quiz on chapter 2. That's what I'm doing your attendance on. At the same time, you're going to need to get your topics in. You're going to need to watch the video on how to do research in the library. You're going to need to do all this other stuff too, but your attendance will be based on whether you do these things right here. Yeah, sound fair? Sound fair. Anyway, that's kind of what I had to tell you today. I am excited about this 8 weeks. I used to say this semester. I'm excited about this 8 weeks. I am glad to be able to have this opportunity to work with you with an asynchronous course, whether I mentioned it or not. You're going to need to be able to figure out how to video yourself, because your speeches, in this type of course, your introduction speech, your first run speeches, your formal speeches, informative and persuasive. And I don't know if you have any other speech. I can't remember if you have any other speeches on here or not, but they will need to be videoed. So you will video them and then you will upload them to the correct Dropbox. Now, I understand, wait a minute. I'll get you my phone right here. There's my phone. I understand that you can video yourself on the phone and that it might be technically possible to get it from your phone into the correct Dropbox. But I know people in past semesters have tried that and have had all kinds of trouble with that. So you might want to video it on your computer rather than on your phone. It might work out best. So that's what we have. That's class today. It's not the whole class today because you have a whole lot more to do. But that's the first lecture. This is me. I am here in my office. I am a pastor up in Indian Land, South Carolina. I did not mention that. I've got a dog named Charlie. More importantly, I've got a wife and I've got two children. Both of my children are, well, as I'm giving you this, they are freshmen in college as of the fall of 2021. I say that because I might use this lecture in later semesters as well, but they were freshmen as of fall of 2021. So hope this class is good. Be in contact. If you have questions, email me. I will respond to emails quickly, and I hope you read your emails as well. And let's do this together, remembering, or I'm reminding you, that in 8 weeks, maybe not reminding you, but in 8 weeks, it's hard to turn anybody in anything from a beginner to an expert in 8 weeks or even in 8 years. It's hard to do that, and it's the same for speaking as well. What I can do is give you some tools. What I can do is give you some practice. And hopefully what I can do is help you find the speaker, the public speaker that is already in you. Let's see if we can do that this semester. That's all I have to say. Get to work. You got some more things to do. I will talk with you soon. Bye-bye.